Yeah, one way. Yeah.
I now call to order the North Canton City Council meeting of November 14th, 2020. The time is 7 p.m. First, we'll do opening prayer. Prayer.
Rise from prayer and standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Bow your heads, Almighty God. Last week, we marked two events of great importance in our civic life: an election and Veterans Day. Tonight, we give thanks for our freedom as a free people to choose our path. And we give thanks for all those who, under arms, have defended that freedom. And we express our eternal gratitude for those who have purchased that freedom with sacrifice. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ben, would you please call the roll?
Member Matheny?
Here.
Member McLeister?
Here.
Member Warren?
Here.
Member Stroya?
Here.
Member Revolt?
Here.
5 present, members Orr and Wyrick absent.
Motion to excuse members Wyrick and Orr.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, can I have a motion and a second to approve as presented minutes from October 24th, 2022 public hearing, Committee of the Whole and City Council, and the October 2020 finance report?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. At this time, we'll have a special presentation from Teresa Ledrick. Did I pronounce that right?
Tasha.
Tasha.
Tasha. Oh, let's focus on the last name. Sure. She's from the Akron Canton Food Bank, and Jamie was the one that asked her to speak, right?
Yes. Yep.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. How's everyone doing this evening?
Good.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay. It doesn't look like it's okay. I was like, oh, it's okay. Good evening. My name is Tasha Ledrick, and again, I work with the Akron Canton Regional Food Bank, and I'm excited to present tonight. So I primarily work in the area of scheduling volunteers. So I will speak with everyone about the opportunity to volunteer with the food bank. But I just wanted to give a brief presentation, providing a little bit of an overview. And I'm really excited to actually chat tonight because I've been a resident of North Canton now. My husband and I have been here for over 20 years, and so it's nice to come and present at City Council. So thank you again for having me. Thank you, Councilman McLeister. Re-volunteering, he asked if I could come and be present here at council, and I said absolutely. I also know councilperson Stephanie Warren. She volunteers with the food bank and connects her leadership Stark County organization with volunteer opportunities with the food bank. So it's great to see you, and Mayor Wilder, thank you for having me here tonight. Again, my primary responsibility with the Akron Regional Food Bank is I schedule volunteers. I schedule non-corporate group volunteers, which would entail school groups, church groups, friend groups, neighbors, civic groups. I have Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts that schedule volunteer opportunities with us. And we have, in the last year, opened a new facility in Stark County. It's in Canton. So it's been really nice to be in Stark County. Again, I live here in Stark County, and I have a colleague that assists with scheduling our corporate groups. So if you are ever looking for volunteer opportunities, please reach out. We'd be happy to connect you with those opportunities. Now, just to bring you a little bit of information as to who we are, what we do at the Canton Regional Food Bank, and how that connects to North Canton is what I'd like to really focus a little bit on. For those of you who may not be familiar with the Canton Regional Food Bank, we have responsibility in 8 counties in Northeast Ohio. Those 8 counties being Carroll, Holmes, Medina, Portage, Stark, Tuscarawas, Summit, and Wayne. I didn't use my fingers to make sure I got them all, but I believe I captured all. In those 8 counties, we have over 600 programs that help us get food out to the community. And those programs are organizations, nonprofits that host, whether it's a pantry, whether it's a hot food site, a hot meal site, a youth backpack program, or senior food box programs, or other emergency or shelter programs. And bringing, helping to get food from the food bank, because as a food bank, we are ensuring that good food that's available in the community isn't going to waste. And once we have that food in our inventory, our programs have the opportunity to see what's on our menu, what's in inventory. They order those items, and then they take them back to their respective programs, and those programs assist in getting food out to the community. Being here in North Canton, it's possible that you at times have observed a line outside of a church on a pantry day. And it means that someone's going to have access to good, healthy food to take home, and that really good, healthy food didn't go to waste. What we like to express at the food bank is that more than enough food is produced to feed everyone. However, it's a matter of helping everyone get access to that food, because there may have been a circumstance that affected someone's household. Households may be making choices and making decisions on paying a medical bill or buying groceries, or it's now cooling down. Your heat's being turned on, probably. That heating bill may go up. How do I pay for groceries? How do I pay for food? Sometimes it's simply an unexpected layoff, and those household bills continue, but that income has a pause. It has a bump. I like to say a bump in the road. And so the food bank ensures, to the best of our ability, that everyone has the access to food through our programs, so that those choices that have to be made, you don't have to choose to not eat. Choose to pay that car repair so that you can still get to work. And our resources, our pantries, our partners assist in ensuring you have access to food. Looking on a little bit closer to home, I just want to point out a few programs in Stark County, in particular in North Canton, that help in getting food out to the community. If you'll reference the Hunger in Stark County document that I provided, just a little bit of a brief overview. Overall in Stark County, just over 14%, and this was as of earlier this year. So these numbers may change and fluctuate just a bit, but please note that this is pretty close to home. This is Stark County. Over 14% overall food insecurity in this immediate area. Looking at child food insecurity, we're looking at just over 19%. And it took me a long time to chat or give tours and talk about children being hungry. That just really hits. And see, okay, so I can't talk about that because it means so much that children have access to good food, going to school, after school, and so here in North Canton, referencing again this document, some of our top partners in this county Lower on the page, top partners by pound, you'll notice that North Canton Church of Christ is one of our top partners. And overall programs that we have in Stark County. Now, this number changes and has changed because we are always looking to grow our partnerships. We are always looking to find any pockets of the community where food insecurity, where hunger may exist, and help those programs connect with food from the food bank to get to their organization, to get to their community. So as of March of this year, we had 65 food pantries in Stark County. We had 33 hot meal sites and shelters. We had 7 senior citizen programs. We had 27 youth and backpack programs. And we had about 15 other non-emergency programs totaling 147 programs in the immediate Stark County area. And again, those programs are continuing to grow. We are very thankful that several programs that had to place a pause on their operations were able to continue and recover post-COVID because there was absolute an increase in need during that time. I don't want to take up too much more time, and I definitely want to be available for any questions, but I want to be respectful of the overall agenda for the council meeting this evening. And I'll just kind of wrap it up by saying, if you are looking for a way to connect with the food bank, I would be happy to connect with you by phone, by email. I can leave information. With you. By my business card if need be. It's just been a pleasure to meet everyone tonight. And again, Councilmember Klister, thank you so much for inviting me. And hopefully I've provided just a little bit of information for anyone who may not have been aware of the Akron Canton Regional Food Bank. And like I said, we have the new facility, the new campus down on Cherry and Canton. But we have partners right here in North Canton that help get food to the community. Any questions at this time?
You know, I'll just throw out that if you have not been down to their new facility down in Canton, which, correct me if I'm wrong, is at the site of the old Fishers, what road was that on? Cherry.
So it's on Cherry Avenue
Yes.
Northeast, and yes, so the Stark County campus is located at the site of an old Fisher facility, an old Fisher building. And when that facility, if you don't mind,
Sure.
I can share just a little bit. When that facility closed years ago, it actually created in that immediate community a food desert. And when we were looking to build a new facility in this area, because our main building is still in Akron, it's in Summit County. But again, you heard me say that one of our counties that we're responsible for is Tuscarawas County. South of here, we have Wayne County, we have Carroll, we have Holmes. All of those counties with our partners, those partners, prior to us opening the Stark County location, had to place their order and pick up their orders from our Akron location. That's a lot of wear and tear on vehicles. Gas prices have gone up. And having a facility that we were thankful to find that land, that facility, it was unfortunate that Fishers had closed, but being able to find that location and build our new building on that site allows us to have access to our partners in this region a little easier than having to travel up through. Right now, just a little bit of construction on 77. When it's all done, it's going to be amazing. But we're excited to have that new building. But yes, it is on the site of the old Fishers.
Sure, and I was just going to say that it's an absolutely terribly impressive building. Absolutely loved it. But one of the things that we had a conversation, my company went in to volunteer there, I think it was about maybe 2 months ago. And the thing that struck me, and I'm carrying it with me now, is food insecurity knows no zip code, I think was the conversation we had afterwards. And I don't know, seeing the fact that possibly 20% or up to 20% of children in our greater community could be affected is heartbreaking to me. But that's why I just thought it was so important that you came in and, share a little bit about what you guys are doing down there. And I'm so glad that you took me up on that offer. So thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you. Thanks again.
Mhm.
Ms. Tasha, also,
Yes.
thank you for your presentation. And having this as a resource for Stark County is tremendous.
Mm-hmm.
Because in our community, I am aware, we have a couple hundred families that are being fed through Compassion Delivered, Meals on Wheels, and also through our Cares Pantry, at the high school. And I've had the opportunity to volunteer at the Church of Christ, and you have hundreds of families coming through in just a short amount of time. And the Summit, and Faith United Methodist Church. So you're as a resource for all these organizations, so that you're right. So those young people are being fed, and also the adults that may have some sense of not having that opportunity to, like you say, balance the needs of the family. So thank you for your presentation, and
Mhm.
Jamie for organizing it, and knowing that we have this resource in Stark County is just, we're very fortunate that we have this. So thank you very much.
For sure.
Just
Yep.
one other thing, I think too, that asset of having you in our community and moving from Akron to here, and like you saying, all the people that you support, but when we've gone down there, and this is a great opportunity for people who have children, or if you're in a church group, or, any really type of group, the great thing that you do is you don't just say like, here, we're gonna put you to work at this table. You tell them the why, the how, who we're serving. I even asked you, and I've been there so many times and brought so many different groups from our signature program to our spot. We do bring everybody to you. And to see the amount of food, like you said, to show the impact that you have, but more importantly, it's the stories. We walk in and you kind of are embarrassed because you are also walking in when there's a line gathering for people that truly need food on that day. And I think I even asked you that day, and I've been there many times, and you have different questions each time you go because something, will affect you. And you saying how respectful you treat everybody. You don't ask, do you really need it? It doesn't look like, it seems like you drove in a nice car. It's again, that insecurity, well, maybe so, but you also can't pay maybe for that car or for that tire that you've done this month. And so you have to substitute. And I loved you just kind of reminding me and the class members of that. And I know especially for our youth academy to impact them at that age, I hope that they can keep taking that through the different challenges they have throughout their lives and opportunities that they can serve others. So thank you for being here. And you do an
Yeah.
amazing job. So thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Tasha. Okay, moving on to recognition of the public. At this time, members of the public wishing to address City Council may do so. Each speaker will be given 5 minutes. Comments shall be limited to legislative items appearing on tonight's agenda only. The rules of speaking will appear on both screens. This will serve as the only warning for tonight for everybody in attendance. Any violation of the rules will result in ejection from the premises. Anyone wishing to speak tonight?
Chuck Osborne, 307 Fairview Street Southeast, North Canton, Ohio. Want to speak to item 8E regarding ordinance 80/2022, salaries. Before I speak to that, I want to read you a portion of our charter. Section 4.04, salaries and bonds. The council shall have the power to fix the compensation of its members and that of the mayor, the director of administration, the director of finance, the director of law, officers of the municipality, of each job classification, and the members of any board or commission of the municipality, whether elected, appointed, or chosen. And I'll repeat the first phrase there. Council shall have the power. Within this salary increases, which I will add and are a little breathtaking, but my focus is on compensation of elected officials. Section 2F1. Members of City Council shall be paid a monthly rate equal to the minimum and earnable salary designated by the Ohio Public Employees Retirement System, OPERS. That's illegal. This council body cannot delegate away its authority. How will citizens ever know when a council gets a salary increase? It's never announced. The public cannot come up and speak for or against it. And further, with no ordinance supporting that increase, if a citizen were desiring to referendum that salary increase, they couldn't even do that because nobody knows when these increases are coming. This is clearly a violation of the city charter. Now, this has gone on for a couple of years. I spoke against it a few years ago when it was started. I have recently spoken to an attorney. He agrees. This is not kosher. So this needs to be changed. You are not here to earn a pension. And this is in direct pursuit of making sure you get 100% coverage to get a pension. Now, if you don't meet that dollar income requirement, you do get partial credit. You can get 3/4 or half-time credit. But continuing to pursue securing a pension for you, and this also presupposes that you're going to be here, I think it's for the 10-year minimum that OPERS will require. So to all of you here on council, if you show up for council, expect to be here 10 years so you qualify for the OPERS salary. This is wrong, and this needs to be removed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address council tonight? Last call. Okay, moving on to, well, did you want to respond now? No. Moving on to old business. Ben, would you please read ordinance 65-2022?
An ordinance amending Chapter 705 designated outdoor refreshment area of the codified ordinances of the City of North Canton to reflect recent changes in state law.
Well, this is the third and final reading regarding some technical changes to DORA. The principal amendment or change has been that we have physically designated we've designated the physical addresses of the DORA that mark the DORA boundary. So there were a couple of other minor changes, but this is it, and brings us into compliance with state law. If there aren't any questions, I would move that we adopt.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ben, would you please read ordinance 72-2022?
An ordinance to approve and adopt current replacement pages to the codified ordinances of the City of North Canton.
Okay, this was John. John is out.
Daryl would be the vice
Yeah,
chair.
Daryl, you are the secretary.
Would you like me to?
Why don't you go ahead, because you do a better job summarizing it than I will.
So we borrow a number of provisions of our local code from state code. And once a year, council's office staff goes through and updates those codes to make sure we still match state law. This is just the annual update.
This is done annually. Are there any questions? If not, then I'll move the adoption of the third reading of ordinance 72-22.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ben, would you please read ordinance 76-2022?
An ordinance authorizing the vacation of one, all of a 10-foot wide alley between 415 Portage Street Northwest and the associated garage to the south. Two, all of an 11-foot wide alley between 401 Portage Street Northwest and 341 Portage Street Northwest. And three, all of an 11-foot wide alley between 337 Portage Street Northwest and 329 Portage Street Northwest, located within the corporate limits of the city of North Canton.
Ben, could you read that with the parcel numbers in it? I'm just kidding.
Yes, if you really want.
No, we've discussed this in the, we had a planning meeting about it, or a public hearing meeting about it. We've discussed it before. There's nothing new. This is as is. Any problems worked out were already discussed, so.
Before you move,
Yeah, go.
have we had any additional resident input regarding the proposal?
I've heard none.
Councilman's heard none?
Nope.
Okay, very good. Okay.
All right.
Go make your motion.
I move we adopt.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Ben, would you please read resolution 79-2022?
A resolution adopting the solid waste management plan for the Stark Tuscarawas Wayne Joint Solid Waste Management District.
Jamie, rubbish czar, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, President Stroya. So I think we all pretty much remember this. Every county is required to adopt a waste management plan, and so we're just voting to affirm the plan that has been presented to us. So nothing new has changed, so I move that we adopt. Or I move that,
Stroya seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ben, would you please read ordinance 80-2022?
An ordinance amending various provisions of Chapter 155 Personnel Regulations of the Codified Ordinances of the City of North Canton to modify various personnel rules and regulations and the titles and compensation levels of certain personnel.
So this sets the maximum salary cap for each position. They are the exempt positions only, none of the union positions. These positions increase automatically by Social Security's cost of living, which was released on October 13th at a rate of 8.7%. It's also increasing a uniform allowance and adding some different position titles. So there's one for, or two positions for code enforcement coordinator, one for community outreach manager, IT systems and public policy analysts. Those are the new positions. And then it also adjusts for the wages for city council so that those will stay in line with the OPERS minimum. Questions? Seeing none, I make a motion that we pass.
Before you
the
go,
ordinance.
let me.
There is a question. Yes.
Comment, Mr. McPeady. During the public speaks, I was struck by Mr. Osborne's comments that he states that this is a violation of our charter. Reality is, it isn't. And I think it's important that the public know that. The charter says that council shall fix the compensation. It does not say how it shall fix, or what the methodology is to fix it. It's really pretty simple if you want to know what the council's salary is. Either A, look at the ordinance, or you call the clerk. Shocking that someone would actually make an inquiry as to what that salary is. And it should be noted that that salary legislation does have a termination point on it and will be revisited by council at some point in the future. I also find it somewhat interesting that Mr. Osborne claims that the public has no remedy. Well, the reality is it does. The charter, previously referenced, provides for both referendum and initiative. Really pretty simple. But I think the public also needs to understand that when we look at compensation, compensation isn't necessarily about just hitting a retirement date. this a session ago or a term ago. And actually, in response to Mr. Osborne, who wanted more competition on council, we concluded that the research suggested, and I use the word suggested, that you had your most competitive races when two things happened. The first is you had a compensation level that was attractive. And the second was you had a 4-year term. Mr. Osborne has opposed both. Yin yang. I don't know what the necessary answer is, but what I can tell you is that stating that this is a violation of the charter is simply not true.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Clarifications? Make a motion that we pass.
Second.
Ordinance 80-2022.
Full seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ben, would you please read ordinance 81-2022?
An ordinance amending Chapter 137, Department of Police of the Codified Ordinances of the City of North Canton, specifically Section 137.04, Personnel, in order to increase the authorized number of police patrolmen and full-time dispatchers.
David?
So because police and fire are civil service, they have personnel caps that are set by City Council. The schools are requesting some more SROs, safety resource officers. They were previously had. The SRO program was first enacted. They added a clause to the police caps that said, this is the cap unless you have funding from an outside source. It makes it hard to keep track of that cap, and this proposal is just to raise the cap to straight 25, which it should be one more than we need to cover the two requested SROs, and cut the other clause about if you have the funding from outside source. So Chief Kemp would be able to hire the patrolman he needs within the budget that council sets for their department and fill the SROs, and he can assign that to a patrolman as he deems necessary.
Perfect.
Thoughts, questions? Make a motion that we pass ordinance 81-2022.
Second.
Full second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ben, would you please read resolution 82-2022?
A resolution to acknowledge the rates and fees utilized to establish the budget for the 2023 fiscal year.
Stephanie?
Okay. So this is just the rates that you can think of, from renting this property to water rates to pool rates, just any rate that you can think of throughout the year. This is what that does. So we set those rates, and this is just a resolution to accept them. So I move to adopt.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ben, would you please read ordinance 83-2022?
An ordinance authorizing appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures and related one-time permanent transfers of monies made to various funds for the period beginning January 1, 2023 and ending December 31, 2023.
Okay, we've had a number of meetings about this. We had our committee meeting, which talked about the budget, really looking at that bigger picture. And then we had a first reading, and I don't believe we had any questions at that point. So this is the second reading, and then we'll have one more final reading. Again, if you look online at the budget book for northcantonohio.gov/budget book, it really has everything that you wanted to look at. So if you need detail on something, or you need to know how many police cars there might be, or what we're thinking about doing to Dogwood, everything is in there. And then, of course, we have our director of finance, our director of operations that we could always reach out to. Does the director of finance have any other questions or concerns at this moment?
I've received no other questions either.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions or concerns? Okay, then I move to adopt the second reading.
Revolt will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ben, would you please read ordinance 84-2022?
An ordinance authorizing the Director of Administration to advertise and receive bids and authorizing the mayor upon Board of Control approval to enter into a contract for the 2023 street resurfacing program at a cost not to exceed $350,000 and declaring the same to be an emergency.
This is the 2023 resurfacing program. I'm going to make a motion to postpone ordinance 84-2022 to the next council meeting.
Revolt seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Going on to new business. Ben, would you please read ordinance 85-2022?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the Director of Administration of the City of North Canton to file a petition for annexation of territory owned wholly by the Commissioners of Stark County, Ohio, and adjacent to the City of North Canton as permitted under Ohio Revised Code, Section 709.16, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Daryl, I am going to make a motion to postpone this, but you're welcome to begin the discussion if you'd like.
We can discuss it when we bring it back.
Okay. I'm going to make a motion that we postpone ordinance 85-2022 to the next council meeting.
Revolt will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ben, would you please read ordinance 86-2022?
An ordinance amending Chapter 1310 Contractor Registration, specifically Section 1310.08, Work Without Permits/Registration of the Codified Ordinances of the City of North Canton to correct references to other code sections and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Okay, Daryl, same thing. I'm going to make them, okay. I'm going to move that we postpone ordinance 86-2022 till the next council meeting.
Revolt will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ben, would you please read ordinance 87-2022?
An ordinance authorizing the Director of Finance of the City of North Canton to make final appropriation amendments for current expenses and related one-time advances and/or permanent transfers of monies made to various funds needed during the fiscal year ending December 31, 2022, and within available resources in order to balance and close the fiscal year.
Stephanie.
Again, we've talked about this, and this is just what we do at the end of each year to make sure everything balances. Correct, Director of Finance? Any other things you'd want to add at this point?
No, no.
Okay. Then I move to adopt.
Revolt seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And moving on to department reports. Director of Administration, Patrick.
Thank you. I'd like to remind council that if you get any inquiries concerning leaves, leaves in the street, leaves, lots of leaves. We do have ordinances on the books, something that we should be talking about next year. It is a responsibility of the homeowner to remove leaves from the curb and gutter in front of their property. I don't think that's ever really been communicated over the years on a regular basis to let people know. It is problematic if we sweep the leaves up once they reach the street. They are considered hazardous material. They cannot go to leaf recycling because they pick up stones and other debris that might have carcinogens on them. And they have to go down to Canton's waste treatment facility. And those, every time that the street sweeper goes down there, it's, round trip probably 2 hours till when it goes 20 miles an hour, it's a ways to get out there and come back, and they have to empty it and wash it out so that none of those things drip on the roadways on the way back. There's a lot of regulations that concern it. And it costs us just shy of about $600 every time to have them clean it out. So we do, like when you see in the spring when we kind of do the street sweeping, we're picking up all that loose debris, gravel, grit that accumulates over the winter. I mean, you can get a lot of that in that truck before you have to go down. But leaves, they fill up that just as they fill up your leaf bags, just as they fill up your lawnmower bags, they fill up those street sweepers just as much. So I think it's something that we should
Mhm.
we're looking forward to the next addition of some of our staff. This is, communications with the constituencies is high on our list of informing the residents of what it is that we can and cannot do and how they can help. So I wanted to get that out there. Second, wanted to let you know that obviously the pool, the dogwood pool is closed its season, and traditionally at this time we get together with the Y and review our management contract, which we have done. That was something that I put into effect 4 years ago. Next year will be the 5th year of that 5-year contract, and we'll need to revisit that. I think it's been working splendidly since it was rewritten, and the Y reported our best year ever, as far as anybody can tell record-wise, with I think approximately 3,500 members, staggering number, and the number of visits compared to half a dozen years ago or so up as well. So the changes that we've made to try to enhance the user experience, I believe the numbers bear out that they work. Because the visits are constant, they're up there. We did raise membership fees. Last year, we instituted some other control mechanisms where we allow, it was members only on the weekends, and day passes had to come during the week. That went over very well. I think it's reflected in the numbers. So the end result is that we had a gain, a profit, if you will, at the pool, and that was the intent of the agreement, was to gear management to get that. And as part of an amendment that we had done to that contract just a couple years ago, we agreed that the profits would be split 40-40-20. 40% to the Y, 40% to the city's general pool operating account, and the other 20% to rebuilding the Dogwood Pool facility, the welcome center, the bathrooms, that opening that you pass through to get into the pool. And so the rough numbers was approximately 140,000-ish, and so the Y would retain 40%. The other 60% comes to the city, but 20% of that's going to go to that pool fund. So we know that with Catherine's application to the state capitol, we received $300,000 grant towards that project. And with other things that we have going, we think that that's a project that we can make happen for 2023. So the plan at this time is when the pool closes for the season next year, which is Labor Day, that we would be in a position to demo the building and get the shell up, by winter, and then finish the interior build out over the winter and be ready to open by Memorial Day. So that's the game plan. We're reaching out, working through an architect to come up with designs. It's collaboration with the Y, their personnel, getting to understand what is needed to optimally move people in and out of that facility in a more efficient manner, getting them admitted into the pool, getting them being able to use the restroom facilities and changing facilities and be able to process people. And then, of course, with the concession stand, being able to operate a better concession stand that offers more variety to that. I will also put out a caution, though, that as we get the word out for next year, I've noticed since 5 years that I've been here that the pool recreation chairs, the lounges, the chases, are not being taken care of in a manner that is respectful. Every year we have been replacing, a couple hundred chairs, lounges. And I don't know what people, I understand what some people are doing to them. And that this isn't just something that we can continue to keep doing. The costs of these things are rising substantially. Of course, the price to everything to the government is more than what it is to John Q. Public, it seems. And those chases, cost, well over $100 a piece. And when you have to replace 200 of them, it's a lot of money. And so we think that what we're going to go with this year is we're going to be encouraging people to bring their own chases, their own chair, their own lounge to sit on. That way, I'm sure they'll be respectful of that property and take that in and out as needed. So that's the thinking at this time. I wanted to share that with you, as raw as it may be. But it is something that we've been frustrated with over the last 5 years that I've been looking at it. I'm sure it's been continuing before then, but the cost of goods are just so much higher. I'm just not sure we can afford to keep doing it. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Patrick. Deputy Director of Administration, Catherine.
Well, I have some exciting news. Carolyn said there was a surprise today to share along the lines of parks. So I'll read a bit of a press release we received from the Ohio Parks and Rec Association. They proudly have announced the 2022 Awards of Excellence, and Dogwood's Possibility Playground has been awarded the first place award in the capital improvements category.
Wow.
Way to go.
And
awesome.
Woody Woodward is the executive director. He just basically says parks and rec professionals throughout Ohio work every day to improve the quality of life of the people they serve. This effort of Dogwood Park's Possibility Playground is a shining example of the kind of work we are pleased to be able to present this award to. So this is voted on by park professionals all throughout the state of Ohio. There's a criteria of 8 categories. It is community impact, achievement, innovation, execution, sustainability, resourcefulness, storytelling, and then the overall project. We had to kind of submit something from each category and pictures. And this also then places us in a category. All first place winners are presented this award January 31st at a banquet in Sandusky at Kalahari Convention Center. And we are up in the running for what they call kind of a best of show type of award, which is called the Governor's Award. So we were there last year.
Wow.
Christina, being chair of Parks and Rec, and I went up to Kalahari for the Oprah, they call it, Ohio Parks and Recs Award. And we saw it. It's a big deal, and everybody's standing there from all over the whole state. It's really exciting, all these park professionals, and you just kind of wait, and then they announce it. So fingers crossed. I'll share with you a little bit of like what I submitted and what they voted on. So in community impact, we talked about, we didn't have this. We just didn't, the gap, existed in not having an adaptive play space in our community with all the wood mulch playgrounds. And so the real impact there was, bridging that gap. And then in achievement, we talked about bringing members of the community together to achieve this, that, we had the North Canton Public Library with the Story Walk, and we're going to be adding a new little library that's going to be coming soon. And we talked about working with Akron Children's Hospital and the schools. In innovation, we talked about, we took some land that was unused, centrally located in the city, former ice skating rink. And then we did not segregate the adaptive play experience, but we integrated it. And we talked about how, we just had old play structures there and a 2-stall bathroom from 1980, and, put in a new one, better parking. Execution, everybody knows we did it through COVID. We talked about all the ups and downs of getting it done and all the people involved with that. Sustainability, we talked about how the stormwater is being collected in the bioswales to make sure that it's clean before entering into the retention pond. And we brought up about how we partnered when Mayor chaired the AEP savers to the AEP Electric Savers program, and we got that award for using sustainability efficient lighting. And that we engaged Davy Tree also in trying, to give us an assessment on the trees out there to not have to take down any more than we had to. Resourcefulness, we talked about how all the money came together from the Nature Works grant, the capital funds from the state, the Hoover Foundation, the GoFundMe page started by community member Bruce Connery, city funds, private donations, North Canton Library, the AEP grant. Storytelling, we talk about it, just, being able to bring not just all children together to play, but it's intergenerational play as well, when you have grandparents that may have wheelchairs or crutches and walkers, and they can, come on, into the play area. And really, I think what I was scared, I didn't know did we win, because there's a lot of adaptive parks, today people are realizing that, it's a real need. But what I said in this too was, if you drove by this summer, and I think we all did, it was crowded, like every single day, from people all over the area. And I said, we haven't had in this community, go back to the impact. I talked about, we lost the Hoover Company. We lost our largest employer, 3,000 employees at its height. And it was an emotional and a financial impact to our community. So not only did the city lose money, but we had multiple generations that worked there, and people were just down, and we were just kind of sad. And so for, since the 80s, we really hadn't had anything new. And once we developed this park that was intended to bring children together, brought an entire community together, brought people outside of the community, our community, and it's truly shown the possibilities. So it's kind of lifted us up to say, like, we're back, baby. We're coming back. We're doing new development, the schools, the park, all the other economic development. So that's storytelling won it for us, and we're pretty excited. So keep your fingers crossed on January 31st. Be really excited to get that governor's award. They also make a donation.
I think you have your acceptance speech done, right? You're good.
Just gonna will it out there. Positive thinking. That's all I have tonight. Thanks.
Nice.
That's a
Thank
big
you.
one.
That's great. Mayor Walter.
Yes, thank you very much. Would you repeat the award again for us? The award that
It's the Capital Improvement Award.
Capital Improvement Award. Well, thank you very much. And if you reflect back on this, this was an idea that council was very supportive of, and it took us through our COVID years and through all the things that we went through to bring this idea to reality. Again, thank you, Catherine, for managing this. This was one of our first, I think, major accomplishments this community had in the support of council come out of COVID. And we're very proud of that. And I just want to know what's our next project, but we'll hold that off, okay? Because we're not going to stop there. But thank you very much. I do have some comments to make because there have been a number of things that have transpired with my involvement. And first of all, we had due to the weather that we had on Friday, November the 11th, many veterans ceremonies were held indoors. And so we had our veteran ceremony on Friday, November the 11th at 11 o'clock in the lobby. Well attended. We had probably 15 or so veterans that were there, plus other people, family and visitors. But I wanted to first say something too. I believe in previous councils or in previous administrations, recognizing the city of North Canton as a Purple Heart city, maybe the paperwork was there, but I'm in contact with our local representative here in North Canton, in Stark County. Didn't seem like we ever had a proclamation to really identify ourselves in support of our veterans. And I just wanted to share with you that also on November the 11th, I presented a proclamation to the audience recognizing the city of North Canton. One, it was Purple Heart Day, but also a Purple Heart City. And frankly, it was in recognition of the estimated 1.8 million veterans who have been bestowed this prestigious medal. The mayor of North Canton desires to join the many other cities in the nation to become a Purple Heart City. So I just want to share that proclamation with you, submitted to the agency that asked us to, not asked us, but inquired about our participation. So I wanted to make that known also. And during the North Canton North Canton Veterans Day ceremony, we titled it, as many of you all know, How Honoring All Who Serve. And I just wanted to recognize a few things that we had. I wanted to thank, again, Reverend Kara Stoltz Costello, who presented the invocation
She's the Tuscarawas District Superintendent of the United Methodist Church, and she and her husband were also the pastors at Faith United, right here on 9th Street. And she has a son serving in the National Guard right now in Honduras on a mission there. So I thought the connection there was great. Hoover students going through, and her oldest son, Eli, is in the service. But I also wanted to recognize, we always have a good working relationship with our North Canton Middle School. And it gives those kids an opportunity to, we usually select 3 or 4 essayists. Actually, I let the school do that. And it's called Patriots Pen Project this time. And I think they had a little prompting by the VFW, but to hear their essays, to talk about what patriotism means and service to our country was very heartwarming. And again, I want to thank these 4 8th grade students who presented. Emily Epperly, Jacob Groh, Catherine Hayford, and Lydia McHolm. They did a great job. And folks, I just want to recognize the veterans that work for the city of North Canton. So please bear with me. We have Jim Davis in Fire and EMS, served in the Marine Corps. Cliff Lee, Fire and EMS, United States Army. We have Jason Myers, Fire, EMS, and in the Army. Doug Taylor, working in Fire and EMS, Marine Corps. From the Police Department, we have Officer Scott Carroll, Air Force. Spencer Zabara, Police Department, Marines Reserve. Zachary Fullwalter, Police Department, National Guard. By the way, he is on deployment right now. He's on his 2nd deployment, if I'm correct. We welcomed him back about a year or so ago, but he's been called up again. So our thoughts are with Zach. Nicholas Koulis, Police Department, Navy. Frank Kemp Jr., our Chief of Police, National Guard. Our Patrick Lewis from the Police Department, serving in the Marine Reserve. Jacob Tate, Air Force. Mike Guth from the Street Department, U.S. Army. Bailey Allen works in our Parks Department, also serving in the Air Force. Jason Steiniger, who works at the water treatment plant, served in the U.S. Army. And Ben Ickes in our permits, served in the National Guard. So I thank all those gentlemen that are employed here with the city of North Canton and for their service.
I think, Mr. Mayor, I think you also served in the Navy.
Yes, sir, I did.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I just wanted to share just a closing thought from that ceremony, if you'll bear with me. The presentation by myself it's called The Legacy of the American Veteran. And in summary, I just wanted to share my closing paragraph, if you'll bear with me. This is the legacy of American service members, a legacy of service and sacrifice that must be preserved and passed on to future generations so that concepts of duty, honor, and country are never forgotten. An American philosopher once wrote, "Those that cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it." The danger in forgetting the sacrifices made by those who have earned the right to the title of veteran is that as a community and a nation may forget the high cost of freedom. We must never forget that. And I would be neglectful on my part to recognize Ms. Councilmember Warren for her daughter's service in the Marine Corps.
Yes.
Couldn't sway him to go in the Navy.
No, second
But,
lieutenant.
Second lieutenant, but there again, and if any of you other have family members in the service, again, thank you because you can never say thank you enough, I believe. Maybe we'll have you present next year too, okay? I think we might really get And as I continue on, please bear with me. There's another proclamation that I have that will be presented actually tomorrow, but I'll share it with you tonight. Father Thomas Sabula, the senior chaplain at Walsh University, is moving on. He has served the Walsh University ministry for over 10 and a half years. And I have the proclamation here. I will not go through it all, okay? But I would like to just say that this portion. After a decade of faithful service to Walsh University, senior chaplain Franklin Thomas Subilla has been appointed by the Most Reverend David J. Bonner, Bishop of Youngstown Diocese, to serve as the administrator of St. Louis Parish in Louisville, and also Sacred Heart Parish in Harrisburg, and that's effective November the 25th. In concluding, I wrote this. During the years of selfless service to Walsh University,
and the greater North Canton community, Father Sabula has trusted in his Lord's call and guided others by the gospel, striving to inspire all to become the light of the world, the salt of the earth, and to be a part of the solution of a turbulent world. Therefore, be it proclaimed, I, Stephen B. Wilder, Mayor for the City of North Canton, on behalf of the city, do hereby proclaim November the 15th, 2022, as Father Thomas Sabula Day, in celebration and gratitude of his dedicated service to Walsh University and the North Canton community, as he goes on to fulfill his new role and discover new opportunities to help others. So thank you, Father Sabula. I also want to thank the voters for participating in the 2022 mid-year elections. I want to especially thank the members of our community who served on the Charter Advisory Review Board. They presented several sections, items to council. 2 out of 3, or 3 were presented to the voters, and 2 out of 3 of those proposals passed. But I thank you, all of them, for their time and their willingness to present these charter items of concern and proposed changes for the betterment of our city and for our government. In closing, on Saturday, November the 12th, I had the privilege to attend the Marine Corps League McKinley Detachment number 277 in celebration of the 247th birthday of the United States Marine Corps. I was flattered on behalf of the city. I accepted a certificate of appreciation of what our city has done in association in supporting the Marine Corps League. And finally, our North Canton Farmers Market, has moved indoors. We still have about 30 vendors, and they'll be in operation, of course, this Wednesday. And they're gonna have 2 food trucks out there. But I told Jenna Groschmidt from Know Your Roots, Ohio, that I would put a special announcement in for them. And also, just so you know, November 23rd, they're gonna have free meals available, free meals to go at the North Canton Farmers Market. And if anybody wants more information, they can just go on their website of knowyourrootsohio@gmail.com. So thank you for indulging me for these items of interest for me and for you. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Mayor. Finance Czar, Gina.
Well, the finance department, since wrapping up next year's budget preparation, we are now working backwards on the current year again, and we're closing up the budget line items, open POs, and working on open enrollment for our employees' insurance. So we'll be finalizing that in November. We were able to secure a 13-month premium quote, so it will take us through the end of next year, and then we'll be back to a calendar year, so that will help our budget. And our income tax is still up
13%.
13%,
It's
holding strong.
fantastic. Council Clerk, Ben.
As you all are aware, the requirement for rental properties to register takes effect January 1st. However, today the portal went live, so any landlords who want to get a head start on it and register early can do so now. It is up live on our website, and through that same portal, residents can also now apply for their burn permits if they are somebody who likes to have backyard fires. And as I think I mentioned last time, we have great hopes to expand access to more city services through this same online portal.
Any feedback from any registrar? What do you say, registrants at this point?
We have only had 4 so far.
Okay.
So not particularly heavy use yet.
Okay.
Okay, let's go to council reports. Ward 1.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Mayor, that was a fantastic report you gave, and so I want to echo my thanks to my friends, family, fellow citizens that are veterans. So I was at City Hall Friday morning, and I was impressed by the fact that we had gotten that spun in to being inside so quickly. So wish I could have attended the event, but I saw some pictures online and it looked great. So also wanted to echo your thoughts about the election, but for some other reasons. So we had some items passed that support local businesses that are
Yes, thank you.
in Ward 2, and that's all right. I'm picking it up for you. So in Ward 2, also in Ward 1. So for me, election night was it couldn't have gone better. I think this shows that our community supports and embraces local businesses that are here or will be coming here. So I just wanted to thank the North Canton voters for that, and again, thank you, Tasha, for joining us this evening. So that's it, Mr. President.
All right, Ward 2, David.
Ms. Farina, thank you. A lot of work and effort goes into putting that together. Took many hands and many hours, but from somebody that understands the person that's coordinating all that and putting that together and communicating that, on top of having a full-time job, was a major effort. So thank you for that. I think the city is much better now that we have Dogwood Park in place, and that's the first of many to come. So appreciate your effort and work on that. Last meeting, committee of the whole meeting, when we were talking about registration of contractors, I'd asked Ben to put together a way to find it a little easier on our website. So if you'll bring that up, previously all we had was a PDF listing all of the contractors in order. So now what we have on our website is a searchable list for our contractors. So you can search by trade. You could pick, HVAC. And then you can see on the side the states that those are registered in our community to do work. So you can sort, if you want to look local, you can go to Ohio, and then you can break it down and say, I only want to deal with people in North Canton, if that's what you choose. And it'll bring up the contractors registered with the city to do work in North Canton. So Ben, thank you for putting that together. There's also our website on the page, a link to get directly to that. And we're going to add some more because I thought it was a big challenge, and because of your expertise and your knowledge, you put this together very quickly and efficiently. So I think it's going to be a benefit to the residents.
Call it.
Yeah, this is fantastic.
Was a good idea. You scared me at first, but when I realized how to do it, it all came together. So.
I think it's going to help the residents, especially when you're searching for somebody that's qualified to do work, that's going to pull the permits, that's going to do a good job, and you can feel confident that they're registered with the city and that your job or action that you need to have complete on your home is going to be taken care of correctly.
Yep.
So, thank you, Ben. And that's my report.
Great, thank you, David. Ward 3, Stephanie.
Okay. Thank you, Kathy, again. I am so excited. I know we were talking about this a few weeks ago. I think one of the coolest things about this project, though, is it didn't start how we thought it was going to end. And I love that we were able to rethink, regroup, and switch it. Like, we weren't so like, nope, this is the way it has to be. This is what we want. We switched it after COVID, during COVID, after the needs of the community, funding. And that was what was so great, I think, is our adaptability. And I think that we haven't seen that sometimes before. And I really have seen that a lot with this administration. And it's so important when you start to see, I think, communities move forward, as they need to have that. So thank you for that. And I think we've got it. I think we've got the grand prize. So the optimism and positivity. I don't know what they're not going to see if we don't have it. So great job. Mayor, thank you for saying so much about veterans. I love that you listed the names, and I think I didn't realize how many. And I work with a number of nonprofits where their job is to find jobs for veterans. My husband is a board member for the SAM Center, which helps veterans that are in need. And I think they're giving away 1,400 turkeys in our community this year. So my daughter was home on Veterans Day. She would not wear her uniform because she doesn't feel like she's earned that yet. She's active duty and she doesn't feel like that. But what she did say was she couldn't believe how many different signs were on different doors in our community, how many you can go to this app and you could get free coffee at Gecko, or Cantata Taco was doing a taco. And she was just so impressed of how much support, there was. And so thank you for saying that. She deploys in March or April, and I think I'll have a whole new aspect as a family member of what that means at that point. So thank you for that. And thank you, Tasha, for being here. You didn't have to stay. So most speakers do pick up their bags and leave. So thank you. I know you have a son at home and your nights are precious and you're asked to do a lot after hours. So thank you. And even when you said, I want to be mindful of your agenda, I know with the food bank, you can go on and on and on, and we love hearing that. And so thank you for just, for being here. And Jamie, you're right. Thank you for the voters for saying that we believe in our local businesses and our commission, how important that they do get together and decide on things that they think, will help us more efficient. I mean, one of those that passed will hopefully help Gina, right? And make us more efficient and not have to waste time on different things. So thank you.
Daryl?
Thank you. Just a couple quick points. Reiterate Jamie's comments about the issues and tie it to thread it to what Gina said. Those local issues demonstrate community support for retail businesses. We're up 13% in large part because we have an economic development strategy that puts an emphasis on supporting that type of operation. We look at our numbers. Historically, we have weathered the COVID crisis in relatively good health. I can tell you from looking at other communities like Dublin that have a preponderance of office space, which is now empty, they're struggling with a budget. I should use the word struggling, but they're having to reassess how they spend money. And we're in a pretty good shape. A year or so ago, and I think I can speak for all of us here, you'd have mentioned dogwood. We would have been embarrassed. It was a major fail out there at the pool. This administration had nothing to do with that. This council had nothing to do with it. But we acknowledged it. But I think it illustrates the community, which goes to Mr. Osborne's earlier comments, as a choice. It can choose to be managed by mediocrity. When you have mediocrity, you get dogwood. Pool. When you choose talent, you have a capital improvement award for Dogwood Park. You have a discussion about planning and executing a brand new pool house. Clear choice, in my view. When you choose talent, you have people who can write legislation on the fly at a council meeting, people who can correct a website within a week based upon a councilman's excellent suggestion, and people who can stand up your rental registration with a user-friendly interface. So I think the community has a choice on how it wants to be managed. Mediocrity or excellence? I go with the latter. And I congratulate everybody who has contributed that higher level of performance over the last year. Really exceptional. One team, one way forward.
All right. A lot of stuff said. I'm not going to repeat a lot of it, but I like to talk, so I'm going to talk. Mayor, that was quite a list of veterans that you mentioned and read, so I appreciate that, and thank you, veterans. Tasha, thank you very much for speaking. What the food bank does is amazing, and I'm glad you were able to share your time with us tonight, although you didn't have to stay this late.
I'm part of the community. I live in the I don't mind.
We appreciate that. Catherine, yeah, amazing job at the park. I'm glad that you're getting recognized, and I hope that's on 31st. I hope that you can.
And anyone can come.
Yeah, that would be.
Definitely
We
Mayor
should do that. That would be
coming.
great.
Brian Hill will come.
Yep.
Can we get a police escort?
Just Sandusky.
That'd be good.
Chief?
Yeah, we might be able to make that happen.
A bus.
But that's very exciting, and you know, there's other canvases, so to speak, for you to maybe make an impact on in the future as well, and that's exciting.
Mhm.
I'm very excited about Dogwood Pool. I worked there, let's say 20 plus years ago. And it needed redone then. I mean, that place, working in that place and cleaning up and looking at all the things that would go wrong on a daily basis in that pool house, that's very exciting to me. So I'm looking forward to that. There were some exciting things for business that were approved, as Jamie said, and I'll just wrap it up by saying buy and support local. So I have a final call for new business. Yeah, that's it. Yep. And then coming up on the 21st, we're going to have a committee of the whole and a regular city council meeting. On the 28th, we will have no meeting. On December the 1st, we'll have our organizational meeting. On December 5th, we'll have a public hearing for the permeable paver driveway. And on the 12th, we'll have a public hearing for signage code. And I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Revolt moves.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sure.
You need to have a meeting. When are those public hearings? Yeah, but we don't need to go